بهالحلقة رح نتعرف على شخصية أمريكية لبنانية، دينيس زاين، اللي له فوق 40 سنة بخدمة المجتمع المدني الأمريكي. خلينا نتعرف عليه أكثر، خليكن معنا.
$9,999.99. And
I'll pledge a penny.
And through my office, we have the 1 cent. We are now at $100,000 for the reward.
Councilman Dennis Zine has announced a plan to repair 50 of the worst sidewalks in his West Valley district. It'll be paid for with $1 million in public money, part of it from Zine's discretionary fund, every council member has one, and the rest from state redevelopment funds for that neighborhood, which Zine controls. As for Zine, he says he's been doing this for years, setting aside money for street projects and getting them done whenever he could.
City Councilman Dennis Zine was one of the 2 council members who voted against the plan.
When you're concerned about the dollars and concerned about the water and power rates and the sanitation, the sewer and sanitation charge and the collection of refuge, etc., that's not what those dollars are there for. They're not there to loan for a museum or for something else. They're there to provide the service and keep the rates low. Your assignment dictates what you should be doing. And if you're on a motorcycle and you're on patrol and you're enforcing the traffic laws, you would assume that citations would be issued and drunk drivers would be arrested.
LA City Councilman Dennis Zine, who at one time was an LAPD motor officer, says supervisors have to tread a fine line. Keeping on top of officers and pushing them to do their jobs is not necessarily setting a quota.
There's a requirement you do your job. You're not given a quota of write so many tickets or arrest so many drivers, but go out there and do your job.
Mr. Dennis Zine, thank you for receiving us in your district office here in Los Angeles. I know you're a councilman, you're Lebanese American.
Yes.
You were born here in Los Angeles in 1947. Your grandparents were immigrants from Lebanon.
Yes.
So tell us more about your family story.
My grandparents came from Lebanon in the 1800s on a boat, and they came through the United States, Ellis Island, went through the immigration, and they settled in the East Coast, eventually coming to California. Mm-hmm. My dad was born in New York. My mom was born in West Virginia. My mom's Rehal. My dad's Zine, mm-hmm. Philip Zine. And I was created in 1947. And the history of the Lebanese people here in America is a proud history. A lot of them on the East Coast in Detroit, Michigan, mm-hmm. A number of them here in Orange County, Los Angeles. Educated, born, raised here in the city of Los Angeles. We call it the City of the Angels. Mm-hmm. And I joined the Los Angeles Police Department mm-hmm. in 1968. Mm-hmm. And there were very few Middle Eastern on the police department at that time.
We will talk about that, but I want to come back to your childhood.
Well, the childhood I was raised in the Hollywood area, mm-hmm. and my mom would make kusha, batlewe, baba ganoush.
And they used to speak Arabic?
They spoke Arabic. My mom and dad spoke fluent Arabic, and they wanted to teach me Arabic. And majdoob. And the problem was, when you're in America, you want to assimilate. Mm-hmm. So I was in an area that didn't have any other Middle Eastern families. Mm-hmm. And everyone was Anglo, American, Jewish, different racial, ethnic backgrounds, but no Middle Eastern. So it was unusual to learn that because you wanted to assimilate with the community, which was speaking English. And we grew up while our parents tried to teach us, and they spoke fluent Arabic in the house. You know, we only learned the words that you're not supposed to mention. And as years passed, the bad words, the bad words.
And you didn't have some friends, Lebanese friends also?
Well, my cousins, all Lebanese, and we'd get together, but everyone spoke English. Everyone was fluent in English. And our parents tried to teach us Arabic, but we went to English-speaking schools, went to parochial schools, Catholic schools, and the whole process, now I look back in life and say, I wish I would have learned it back then. And I've got some books that I've tried
It's never too late.
No, it's never too late. And I have one of my two sons went to take Arabic classes to learn that language. He speaks Mandarin, reads and writes Mandarin. He's Lebanese, but he reads and writes, speaks Mandarin, but very little Arabic. And that's one of the sad parts of the history, at least in my case, that not learning it. But we have many Armenian friends, and the Armenians teach their children to speak the native language in addition to English.
Of course.
So the Armenian population is doing that very successfully. So my history was assimilate with America, assimilate with Los Angeles, assimilate with the English culture, not with the Arabic language. Although we had family and friends, and we get together and have Sunday dinners, and the parents, the adults would speak Arabic, and we didn't know what they were saying. But that's the history.
So you were raised in Hollywood, but you didn't go into film business. You went to the police department.
Law enforcement, yes.
Yeah.
Law enforcement.
So why did you decide to be a policeman?
I wanted to help
And you
people.
stayed like 33 years.
33 years with the Los Angeles Police Department. I wanted to help people. My goal was to help people, to be there to help people that were in need. And I love the career. I mean, I look back now and I say a great career. I have no regrets. It was a wonderful career. So it's a career that I chose. I spent 33 years active. I still serve as a reserve officer with the Los Angeles Police Department. And it's a proud department, but you can help people, and that's always been my philosophy, is help people. In law enforcement, you help people. So I liked it, and I have no regrets. And my son, one of my sons is a Los Angeles police sergeant, so he's following my footsteps.
So you have it in the blood.
It's in the blood.
Yeah.
And we're the first in our family to ever pursue law enforcement. They all pursued business, other interests, but law enforcement, somehow I got very, very connected with it. And very few people can do a career for 33 years and then step back and say, I really enjoyed it. It was really, really beneficial to me, the contributions I made to the community, to society. So I have no regrets. It was a great, great career.
Tell us more about your career as a policeman. What did you do, and what are maybe 2 or 3 events that really marked your career while you were a policeman?
Well, I did a lot of different assignments. I worked undercover, I worked vice, I worked patrol, I worked detectives, administrative, motorcycle. I had a lot of different assignments throughout the city. I think many highlights. I was also a director with the union, the Police Protective League, which is the union. I did that for 8 years. So a lot of different variety of assignments, safety programs, community programs, media programs, just a wide spectrum of activities and assignments during that time of 33 years. Very, very wonderful time. But I got to be involved, and that's the thing I like about Los Angeles, especially LAPD. There's so many opportunities, so many career paths. You want to do this, you want to do that, you want to be in a helicopter, you want to be whatever you want to be. They have, just like the Army, they permit you to go into those areas that you have competence, they will train you, and then you pursue that particular branch of the department. So in my case, I had a lot of different assignments that I enjoyed, from detectives to motorcycles to public speaking, and it was just a full spectrum of activities during that 33 years span, in addition to being a representative for officers with the Los Angeles Police Protective League, which is the union for police officers.
And is LA a secured state? I mean, is it secured, or did you encounter many crimes? Or
Well, there's always crimes. I mean, at one time we were over 1,000 murders. We're down to under 300 now. But at one time we had a lot of crime taking place. A lot of that crime's been reduced. We've had better enforcement. We got DNA where we can trace suspects through DNA analysis. We've reduced a lot of crimes. Crimes have continually gone down. We've become more proficient. The computer era that we have to deal new environments, finding the suspects, apprehending the suspects, the criminal justice system. We had 3 strikes and you're out on felonies. You go to jail for 25 years. So we really made it a much safer place. And just by our statistics on homicide, murders, we're less than 300, and we used to be over 1,000. So that's a dramatic improvement, in addition to robberies and burglaries and other such crimes. So we've been successful.
Good. And you are a reserve officer?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means that you still serve with the police department in a special capacity. I serve in the fugitive detail. So the fugitive detail means you work alongside other officers arresting fugitives, people who have warrants for their arrest, and they don't want to turn themselves in. They're trying to escape. So we work that detail. And it's a rewarding detail. It's all plain clothes. You know, they're not wearing a uniform. And you find out, you track these people down through computers, through neighbors, through other records, and then you apprehend them and put them back in custody, and they go to court, and the judge decides what they want to do. We've got a system where we arrest them, and then the court deals with how they're going to deal with it appropriately.
ولد دينيس زاين بلوس أنجلوس، وأهله كانوا أمريكان لبنانية. من هو صغير كان يسعى أنه يخدم المجتمع الأمريكي. خلينا نعرف أكثر عن مسيرته المهنية من بعد هالبريك الإعلاني. It's been 12 years. You're the councilman of District 3rd.
District 3.
Yeah.
The first Lebanese in the history of Los Angeles to become a council member. The second police officer, Tom Bradley, who served council and then mayor. So I'm the second, and there's been a big span between his appointment and my appointment. And I served the community of the West San Fernando Valley, Tarzana, Woodland Hills, Canoga Park, Reseda, Winnetka, communities within the city of Los Angeles. And I've done that for nearly 12 years. And it's been a wonderful, rewarding time to help the people, because you walk down the street, councilman, this, councilman, they've always got some issue. It doesn't matter what it is, there's always an issue. And it's your job to make sure that that issue is resolved. Whether it be a pothole or vagrants or abandoned cars or crime, whatever the case may be. There's development, you deal with the development where they're building projects, apartments and commercial. You deal with all that. So as a council member, you have a full spectrum. That is your area. There's 15 council members, 15 areas. That's your piece of the city that you maintain the control to make sure it's run in a smooth, efficient manner. The development takes place in a positive fashion. It's got good police, libraries, recs and parks, and all the different activities to help people. That's what it's about.
Okay. And you have been elected by the people in your district?
3 different elections. There are 4 years. So I've been elected 3 different times, 4 years. The last time was over 72% of the victory, which was almost 100%. Because, you know,
of course,
it's close. Anytime you get over 70, you need 50. So when you get 72 and you get past that, then you've really made an impact. I voted the best elected official twice by the local community and the Daily News, which is our local paper here in the Valley. So I feel very confident and very comfortable in what we've accomplished.
Because you are devoted and because you really do what people ask you to. You are really here to help them, to see what are their needs. So it's a part of, you are passionate towards that.
I am, because they put their trust in you. They vote for you, and that's trust, and you can't break that trust. When you say you're going to do something, you better do it. And that's the commitment. I got a great staff. I got a great staff that carries out the mission. And what I do is set the pace, and they then follow the different activities that are required in the community, in politics, in dealing with policy. So it runs a full spectrum. But the bottom line is those people in the community know, hey, Dennis Zine is there to help us. He's there for our events. He's there. He supports us. And he's a very, very good council member. At least that's the reviews I get, which I strive for that. You want to do something to make it a better place, and that's what we strive every single day. Whether we're refurbishing parks or building police stations or fire stations and libraries, all the different infrastructure that we've been able to successfully put together in the last nearly 12 years.
And now I know that you are trying to be a controller. In 40 days there is the election.
March 5th, the election.
Yeah.
Now,
tell us more about that, and how are you preparing all your campaign? And
well, what the controller does is manage the finances and the responsible activity to make sure the departments are doing the proper work for the people. So you're the fiscal watchdog. You write the checks. You make the Masadi. You make sure the Masadi is collected. You make sure the Masadi is paid. You make sure the city's doing what it needs to do for the people. And full spectrum, whether it's the police department or fire department or any other department, your job is to make sure that those services are delivered, and the Masadi's there to have the folks to deliver the service. So I find it a very exciting position where you reach out to the different departments and you scrutinize them, you analyze them, you do audits, financial audits, management audits, performance audits, to make sure they're doing what they're paid to do.
And how many are running for this?
In this particular race, there's 5 people running against me. So I'm number 6.
And what are your chances today?
Well, I hope they're good. I hope they're good. We've done some analysis, and hopefully we can, with enough Masadi, and it's going to be over $1 million. We've collected $1 million so far. It'll be over $1 million campaign. So we hope that that will launch me in the primary. You've got a primary and a general. There's 2 elections. In the primary, be elected, and then that'll take effect July 1st. The election's March 5th. So we're working diligently, meeting people, talking to people, raising Masadi, and it all puts together. And then March 5th is when they go to the poll and they vote, and hopefully they'll vote, and I'll be the new controller. Not every city has a controller. A controller is a unique position. We have a city this size. Need to make sure that the programs are monitored, make sure the Masadi's well handled and distributed properly, and you don't have graft, corruption, crime, that you have the money to deliver the services, and that's what the controller is responsible for the full spectrum.
And who controls over the controller?
Nobody. The mayor's over here, the council's over here, and the controller's by himself or herself. The controller.
So it's a big responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility, and it's a citywide. It's not just a district, it's a citywide. So you got 4 million people, and out of those 4 million people, the ones that vote will vote for a mayor, a city attorney, a controller, and council members. Now, the council was in the district. I'm in the 3rd district, so it's only the valley.
I understand.
When you're running for mayor, it's citywide, city attorney citywide, controller citywide. So people from the valley to San Pedro to east to the west. So I got to get my name out there, let them know who and what I am. And I get a lot of publicity in the media. We do a lot of programs. I got a great staff that puts programs and projects together, and then we carry through. So the name is well known. I'm the only elected official who's running for this seat. These other people are nice people, but none of them have ever held an elective office. So that makes a big difference.
That's what makes you confident that you may be
well, I hope
the
so.
next controller.
Allah, I ask Allah to give me the guidance and the support to make that happen.
بقي دينيس زاين 33 سنة بالشرطة الأمريكية وله 12 سنة انتخب كونسلمان بولاية كاليفورنيا. خلينا نتعرف أكثر على حياته الشخصية من بعد هالبريك الإعلاني.
This is an LAPD officer's dream, a wish list of the latest high-tech crime-fighting weapons and gadgets. And Councilmember Dennis Zine provided the $200,000 in discretionary funds to help police do their job better out in the field. Training guns, long-range binoculars, vests, night vision goggles, emergency equipment, and more.
Something occurs in this area, and it's going to take about an hour or so for downtown to respond. Once they get the equipment prepared, this gives us immediate response, whether it's an earthquake or a suspect, and we know that a lot of crazy things are happening, so we want to have this division prepared to respond. The old days where you'd surround the building and wait for SWAT team to arrive, that's not the way it is anymore.
The money for all this equipment is being split between 3 Valley divisions, Topanga, West Valley, and the Valley Traffic Division.
These are our outer ballistic vests, and they just open up and just slip on like a jacket.
This piece of equipment, it can be used to bash the door. This is probably about 35 pounds. And occasionally we have narcotic suspects, and they really don't want us to get in there because if they can secure their location before we get in, they can flush all the narcotics down the toilet. So this helps us to get in more quickly.
Councilmember Dennis Zine seems especially taken with one high-tech toy, a tiny adjustable camera that can see through cracks and behind doors.
Instead of me going over and exposing myself, this is what we can use. So you have an apartment building with a shooter. Before you run in and there's the shooter, you use this to find out it's safe, it's secure, and then you can go.
City leaders hope the money spent here has bought not only more equipment, but a lot more safety for both officers and the community.
Let's talk about your personal life. You were married to a Lebanese-American lady.
Yes.
You have 2 sons, and I know that one of them, the biggest, is in policeman also.
LAPD, yes.
LAPD, and Eric is
Pilot.
Is a pilot.
For a
So
commercial
tell us
airline.
more about you being a father and your relationship to your sons, and do you spend some time with them?
Well, the police sergeant, Christopher, he's married. He's got a wife. She's a school teacher, and they have their own life. And I spend some time with him, not as much as I wish, because he's got a job, a wife. Obviously, he's got to take care of that. So I don't want to be a burden to him. My other son, Eric, he flies all over, so he's not in town that often.
Okay.
But we speak frequently. We'll speak a number of times during the week. How are you doing, son?
He just spoke to you now.
He called me just before we went on the tape. Yeah, you know, I like to keep in touch with them. I don't get to see them as often as I wish, but they're growing. Eric's 31, Chris is 33, so they're adults. They have their own life, but there's still that connection. You know, he says, "Hey, Pop, what about this? What about that?" But I have dear love for these.
You advise them in many things,
And
especially maybe Christopher, because he's walking on your steps. Yeah.
And I tell him, I say, Dad tells you, I've lived it, I've gone through it, I'm telling you what you need to do to make sure. And afterwards he'll say, Dad, you were right. I said, well, you know what, I'm right because I have the wisdom, because I've been there, I've been in your shoes.
Yeah.
Now he's in my shoes.
And
doing
you have
the law
grandchildren?
No, no
Not
grandchildren.
yet.
He's working on it. Christopher's working with his wife. They're working on
Okay.
grandchildren.
Okay.
So someday I'll be Jiddu.
Yeah,
Jiddu.
I know that you went to Lebanon like in 2006.
Yes.
And it was for
Sister City.
Sister City. Tell us more about that. It seems very interesting.
The Sister City is a program that we have developed around the world, and it's people to people. So being Lebanese, Eric Garcetti, who's one of my colleagues on council, we worked together to go to Beirut, met with the president, met with the prime minister, met with the mayor of Beirut, met with the vice mayor, traveled around and said, we want to set up a relationship. Now what happens when you set up a relationship with a sister city, like a brother, sister, you help each other. So that establishes a commitment that we will help them in different variety of areas. Fire trucks, we've sent fire trucks, we've sent ambulances, we've sent emergency equipment. We've sent them life-saving equipment to help the people of Beirut. So if they see a red truck and it says Los Angeles, that comes from us. We get that donated. We have a ship, it puts on a ship and it gets over there, and then they use it for public safety.
And you're still helping them?
Oh, yes.
And can they help you in a way, or you are the one helping only?
There's not a lot of export that we can ask for to help. I mean, as far as public safety, as far as the ability to deliver service, we really have. We're a large, huge city, 4 million people, and a huge country with all the resources. So we're more helping them than them helping us. Now, if it's exchange programs for education.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The exchange programs. Because
well, we can do law enforcement exchange programs. We can help them identify some of the issues, the concerns. The traffic in Lebanon is terrible. People drive nuts. They drive Mashugana. You know Mashugana? That's like Majdub. They drive terrible. I couldn't believe when we're driving there with the police escort, these people are driving like maniacs. I mean, their driving habits are terrible. I think the Middle East, the laws don't matter. I don't care what the law says. I'm going to do it. I'm going to driving crazy. Not on motorcycles, driving really, really crazy. They'll be passing on the left and this and the right. I mean, it's very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. So what we can help them with is establishing some rules and some laws. How do you maintain an orderly society when it comes to transportation, which is critical, so people don't get injured, don't get killed.
So it was your first visit in 2006.
My dad always wanted to go. He never made it there. He passed away, and he's always talked about going. They didn't call it Lebanon, they called it the old country. It was always, we're going to go to the old country, old country, old country.
The old country.
That's what they always refer to it, the old country.
ابنه البكر لدينيس زين مشي على خطاه وهو بالشرطة الأمريكية. دينيس زين إنسان طموح كتير ومنقول له كل التوفيق لحملته الانتخابية الجديدة. خلينا نعرف أكثر عنه وعن علاقاته مع لبنان من بعد هالبريك. Like to go back to the old country.
I will be going back.
Visit.
I will be going back.
When then?
And you're going to take me to dinner when we go there.
Of course.
There you go.
I will take care of all that.
No, I plan to. See, what I'm looking for, and a lot of people here in the United States want to visit, but there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of conflict. It's like the volcano ready to explode. We need it calm down. We need to have the ability to say we can go there safe. We don't have to worry about confrontation. Don't have to worry about any kind of war conflict. You know, Syria right now, where they're killing their own people. Well, you have that, what happens in that region frightens Americans because we have a relatively safe environment. And when you have a country that's in turmoil, it spills over to America to say, wait a second, we don't want to get involved in that. We don't want to be held hostage. We don't want to encounter the negative situation to take place. And whatever the issues are, the Masadi can be made, and the travel and the tourism, because they used to talk about the Riviera, the Mediterranean.
Of course.
And that's lost its...
We bet on tourism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then while the economy sparks up and down, it needs to be consistent. And there's a lot of Americans, a lot of Lebanese, a lot of people here who want to go, but they're afraid. Same thing with Mexico. They're afraid to go to Mexico because of the drug cartel and all the violence that takes place. Nobody wants to go and get hurt or killed or kidnapped. That's one of the issues. Once they establish a safe environment, that will then prosper for all that region. I mean, you've got the conflict that continues.
Indeed.
The Arab Spring, and then all of a sudden conflict, and all the countries that have fallen. That creates the symbol over here, so we don't want to go there. We don't want to get involved in that. We want to stay out of it. I like when the Marines at the barracks, when the barracks were blowing up. I mean, that sends a message. Don't go there. You don't want to be hurt. You don't want to be in fear. So it's like when you go to other country, go to Hawaii. It's not a country, part of the United States, but you go to Hawaii, you got the ocean, you got relaxation. And the same thing in Lebanon, because I went down to the coast. It was gorgeous.
I know.
Fantastic. And the food. I mean, a table like this.
Full
they
of
have table with the
small
food.
dishes.
And then you finish, and then you go to the next table with all the desserts. I mean, we were treated so well. Ferris Wehby, a good friend of mine, James Cato, one of our judges who's Lebanese. James Cato and his family, they go over there every year. But I say, for me to go over there one time was a beautiful experience. I went with my son Christopher, the police sergeant, and I want to go again. But I'd love to go there and spend some time there and really
enjoy it.
And start learning some of the customs.
Without worrying about anything.
Yeah.
How do Americans, pure Americans, look at Lebanon and Lebanese?
They look at them as intelligent people, productive people, but a country that's in turmoil because of the constant conflict that takes place. And that's the issue, because you've got the issue with Armenia and Turkey and the genocide. You got the issue with Israel and the conflict that continues. You've got Iran. You've got all these conflicting issues that say, why can't we all get along? Why can't we just all get along and everybody has a piece of the pie? We can all live in peace and tranquility. But as long as that conflict continues, it takes people in this country who want to go over there
to wait a bit.
Wait. And we keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And haram, then you pass away and you say, you know what, I wish I would have gone. So when we went, I mean, we came back 10 days later, they blew up the airport and there was a 30-day war with Israel.
Yeah, in 2006.
That's not good. That sends a message. 10 days. And some of the folks that went with us stayed to vacation. They were caught up in that. They couldn't get out. They had to go through Cyprus to come back to America.
So it was a very bad memory.
Not for me.
Yeah,
for me, it was
for
great.
them.
But for them,
because
we're not used to in this country having that kind of conflict. We'll have a crime here or there, but we don't have this conflict where they're laying bombs and they're blowing up buildings. And I remember driving around Beirut, and you see a blown up building and a new building.
This is Beirut.
They need to. And then we met with Harari's son. We met with Harari's son at his residence. And to go to his residence, they had the barricades as you're going down the street. I mean, you want to be safe and secure, but the fact is there was a semblance of this unhappiness where you had buildings blowing up, and then you have a new building. It's like they should tear those buildings down and rebuild and make it nice. And there were areas where they did make it nice, but they need to prosper with that.
You're right.
Because you think of the jobs, but you could turn it into such a vibrant environment. And the Masadi and the tourism, because Hawaii has a lot of tourists. Those people, a lot of them would go, let's go to Lebanon. Let's see the beauty of Lebanon. And the beauty is there. They just need to capture that safety. And every part of that region can be safe. And Syria can be safe. I mean, it was safe for many years. Iran was safe for many years. And then it all blew up, and it's continued this saga. The Shah of Iran, then you got the Ayatollah. And the Ayatollah came in, and it was not a positive situation. So people in America, we want to be safe. We want to be secure. We want to go to a place and enjoy and spend Masadi, but enjoy and not live in fear when you hear bombs and people getting shot. I mean, that's not a good idea. That doesn't bring an inviting environment.
You need a peaceful Lebanon, and then you'll come and spend all your money and have some business, and maybe even think about spending more time in your beautiful country.
I'd like to have a place there where I could go for vacation, and have a place along the ocean, and out the Mediterranean, and go there have a vacation and spend, like Jimmy Cato, my good judge friend. He goes there with his family. And he's probably got property there that he owns, and he'll go there every year.
And this is what I noticed. Up in the mountain. All the Lebanese immigrants wants to go and have
it's your
place of their own. Yeah, it's your roots.
And that Middle Eastern custom is so warming and inviting, but then you got the conflict. You got the competing interests. Like here, we don't have. There they have the religion that connects everybody and it spills into politics. Here, politics is here, religion's over here. You can be any religion you want over in America. It's not going to conflict. Over there, it's all intertwined, and that's one of the issues.
You're right.
Is that just explodes into more problems. And when you have the problems, the controversy, the news we get, it's not safe. And it's not safe, I'm not going to go. That's what happens.
You're right. What are your future projects here in the United States, other than being a controller?
Well, the controller is my next step in the political process. Control, that's a 4-year, with a second 4-year if I'm reelected, to make a difference, to make an impact, and be the first Lebanese to assume a citywide position. Now, I'm a councilman, I have a district, When you're the controller, you represent the whole city. You represent every part. Latino, African American, Middle East, you represent all, which puts you on a higher level. Because now you've connected all the dots and all the communities and all the ethnic groups, which is significant. And that could open many doors. But I'm looking at that opportunity to serve the people of Los Angeles as the controller. That's my goal. What happens after that, I hope it'll just be happy and peaceful. Maybe I can retire and have time in Lebanon.
Inshallah, you become a controller and also you come and visit Lebanon.
Absolutely.
And have your place, and then you can have succeeded in both.
Exactly. That's my wish.
Mr. Denis Zine, thank you.
That's a pleasure.
And hope to see you very soon in Lebanon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
قدر يحقق دينيس زين الكثير بمسيرته السياسية ببلد الحريات الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، وحكي أيضاً عن تمنياته للبنان أنه يصبح بلد في نظام وفي سلام. أنا من لوس أنجلوس بودعكم.
Denis Zine's with us. I sometimes call you Congressman, but look, it's like the Godfather movie. I'm thinking Congressman Zine,
someday maybe,
Senator Zine, President Zine.
Councilman.
How are you, buddy?
Thank you. And another acknowledgement for ABC 7. 20 years you folks have been doing this. It's wonderful. We're down here at Topanga and Victory. I've got, thanks to my staff, a bag for you for the toys to stuff the buses. We like to stuff 9 buses today. I think it's 9 is our goal, to get 9 buses.
That would be great. And we had 5 last year.
Well, we'll get 9 this year because it's a beautiful day and it's wonderful out here. And you are a legend amongst all the people. When you came to council, they were cheery. They wanted to elect you to be the mayor. You know that.
Was it wrong when I got up in front of council and said I'm announcing my candidacy to run for mayor?
And then Larry Green here, who was with Westfield. Now, they've got a huge right behind us. They got the Westfield trolley.
Yeah, we're in the retail business, so we needed to take care of you today. We want to fill these buses up. You know, this is from some of our great retailers at Westfield Topanga. Encourage everybody to come out, buy a gift, and let's fill these buses up.
Yeah, it's easy. You can come right over here and just pop right in, and we'll ride out in the lot.
Can't be any easier. Can't be. How many buses are we going to fill up today?
I think, well, we did 5 last year. We're going for 9. If not, you want Cerritos to humiliate you, do you?
We can't. Cerritos can here.
So please, everyone come out, buy a gift at Topanga. We got great stores. The mall's looking great. Come on out, and let's fill these buses up.
So here we are, Topanga and Victory, the beautiful community. It's a beautiful, bright, sunny day. Thank you, Garth, for coming out. Thanks,
I'm a Valley boy, baby. I love you.
I know you are. And also, Arnie Kleiner. Arnie, I know you're watching at home. We want to thank you for doing this every single year. 20 years helping the people in this great region. The LA City Fire Department. Let's not forget LA City Fire Department for what they're doing. So God bless y'all. Merry Christmas to all.
Dennis, thank you, my friend.
I love it, buddy.
President Zine.
That's it. We're moving up the ladder. Yes.
Right.
I'll be the czar of elves.
Si vous souhaitez revoir cette émission et pour plus d'infos, visitez notre site internet www.mtv.com.lb.